Now welcome viewers. Delhi woke up once again under a thick blanket of smog. The air quality index has now entered the red zone, staying well above the 300 mark in the national capital. Now as the temperature drops in Delhi and NCR cities, the air quality index is now witnessing a spike. In fact, Delhi on Saturday recorded an AQI of 566 at 7 am, falling in the hazardous category. This is according to the data on AQI.in. Now viewers, it's not just a number that we're reporting at this point, it's a health emergency, one that millions of Delhiites inhale every single breath. In fact, let's talk about the pollutants. PM 2.5 still remains the key pollutant since Diwali, and the national capital's air quality has been either in the poor or very poor category occasionally, worsening even to severe now. Now the causes here are familiar and chronic. Stubble burning across Punjab and Haryana, vehicle emissions, construction dust and the open burning of waste. But this time, the city's geography and weather make it worse. Low wind speeds and cold air trap pollutants very close to the ground, turning the national capital essentially into a gas chamber. Now, government data shows that a farm fire smoke contributed nearly about 9% to Delhi's pollution till Friday. And in fact, it is expected that this figure could now jump to about 30% by today. Satellite images have also picked up the number of farm figures. It's about 350 in Punjab, a few dozen in Haryana and about 200 in Uttar Pradesh. Meanwhile, vehicle emissions are also adding fuel to this smog that's currently trapping the capital. The figure is somewhere around 15% in fact. Now, authorities have rolled out the Graded Response Action Plan or GRAP. They've banned construction, restricting truck entry, curbing diesel gensets. And in fact, under the National Clean Air Program, India has also pledged to cut particulate pollution by up to 40% by the year 2026, which is next year, of course. But on the ground, viewers, enforcement of these rules and regulations, it remains very weak. For the average citizen, these plans often arrive too late when the air is already unbreathable. Now, other cities have shown transformation is possible around the world. Beijing being an example, it has reduced its toxic smog in less than a decade. And it has been able to do so by shutting coal plants, relocating heavy industries and switching households to cleaner fuels. Mexico City is another example, in fact, once one of the most polluted cities in the world. It cleaned its air through strict vehicle checks, better fuel quality, as well as massive investment in public transport, something now that Delhi CM has also been promoting. For Delhi, the lesson is very clear. Bans will not work. What's needed right now is a regional strategy, one that brings together states, enforces crop management at the source, modernizes transport, as well as gives citizens cleaner, reliable alternatives. Because at this rate, Delhi's winter is not just cold, it's poisonous. And unless policy matches the scale of the problem here, every breath will remain a risk.
इस प्रदूषण में बढ़ोतरी में जो मुख्य सोर्सेज हैं, जो मुख्य स्रोत हैं, उसमें डस्ट पोल्यूशन होता है, वेहिकुलर पोल्यूशन होता है और अभी आने वाले समय में बायोमास बर्निंग की वजह से भी पोल्यूशन बढ़ता है। तो हमने विभिन्न विभागों को ये निर्देश दिया है कि जो म्यूनिसिपल सॉलिड वेस्ट है और जो कंस्ट्रक्शन डिमोलिशन का वेस्ट है, उसको लिफ्ट करने का, उसको कलेक्ट करके ले जाने का, ट्रीटमेंट करने को सुदृढ़ करते रहे। मैकेनिकल रोड स्वीपिंग पर हमने काफ़ी एम्फेसिस दिया है और PWD, MCD इन सब के माध्यम से दिल्ली में लगभग 100 मैकेनिकल रोड स्वीपिंग मशीन्स हमने निर्देश पर ये विभाग चला रहे हैं। एंटी स्मॉग गन और वाटर स्प्रिंकलिंग भी रेगुलर बेसिस पे किया जा रहा है। विभिन्न रोड एजेंसीज़ को ये भी निर्देश दिया गया है कि जो पॉट होल्स अगर कहीं पर हैं तो उसको भी वो उसको रिपेयर करें। आने वाले समय में बायोमास बर्निंग की अगर कहीं पर घटना दिखती है तो उस पर भी रेवेन्यू विभाग जो है उसके माध्यम से हमने निर्देश दिया है कि वो इस पे कंट्रोल करेंगे.
At this stage of time, as the weather is getting hostile, temperature is going down. In fact, temperature has not gone down as it would have gone down by this time. Otherwise, it would have been really entered in the severe zone. Now it is hovering between very poor to severe. The another problem is that hourly basis CPCB cut the data at PM 2.5, 350 microgram per meter cube. Otherwise, it would have entered in the severe category by now. But then coming back to your question is that what is contributing to this? You will see at any point of time, transport sector will continue to remain the dominating source. Here and there, it is going to be 7, 8%, 9%, all those coming from the stubble burning. But then that will go on for next 15 days more. So the crux of the problem is that unless, as you have already mentioned in the initial comments, which you had told that we need to talk with the several states nearby, in a scientific terminology, what we call is the airshed approach. Unless we take all these measures which has been taken by COQM in a airshed region, which involves part of the 6 more state, problem is going to remain like this. As far as stubble burning concerned, counts have gone down significantly this year. Still, it has not hovering between 400 to 500, which is not going to make much of a difference, even if weather conditions are congenial. But there is a controversy in that also, because farmers, as told by many, I don't understand, I don't know what is the reality, that they are burning when the satellite has passed. If that is the case, then their contribution has to go down, but it will not be captured by our own forecasting media, because they are taking only NASA's satellite.
Okay.
So in conclusion, what your answer is, transport, vehicular pollution, congestion, and deteriorating weather congestion, this is going to create a problem. 30% of the stubble burning contribution is predicted for tomorrow, but that is based on the historical data for past. It is not going to go that much if the counts continue to remain about 400, 500, because that prediction is based on the 10 years or earlier years average, where used to be huge amount of fire.
See, basically, we need to understand that the World Health Organization has labeled air pollution as the single most hazardous environmental risk factor to our health, and also resulting in premature deaths. So while there's no specific test or marker that can just say that if this death has happened, it's happened because of the air pollution, but we know that with chronic exposure to all this kind of bad air is definitely leading to a very our lifespan being reduced significantly. There are various studies which have shown that this lifespan could be reduced from 2 years till 12 years, as much as that. And if you actually go through the data, the statistics, in 2012, about 7 million deaths globally were attributable to air pollution. In 2019, about 1.6 million deaths in India alone were attributable to air pollution. Now, as far as immediate effects are concerned, the immediate effects would be cough, cold, breathlessness, chest tightness, congestion in the chest, watering from the eyes, sore throat, heavy-headedness. But then it doesn't stop here.
Dr. Vivek, every third person that I talk to has some sort of cough and cold today. Unexplainable cough and cold.
Absolutely. And what is happening is that most of these people are lining up requiring steroids, antibiotics, prolonged courses, still not improving despite all this. And the issue also is that it's not just restricted to the lungs. The complications could be even in the heart. There are studies which have shown that whenever the AQI levels are high beyond a certain limit, they could also result in acute heart attacks, and the number of hospitalizations because of the heart attack go up significantly. So it is asthma, COPD, heart attacks. Now the studies are also linking it to dementia. Prolonged exposure to poor air quality can also result in dementia, besides brain stroke and other complications. So
that's as serious as it gets. There's a plethora of problems, some of which you will not even realize, your buildings. The symptoms may show, the symptoms may not show, but these are some of the long-term issues that you may face if you continue to breathe Delhi air.
I think the most effective program that the government today has is not with regard to controlling pollution, but in terms of hiding pollution, in terms of managing image and perception. Because whatever data that the expert before was talking about, he still thinks, and the government actually believes that the air is not in the severe category. Reality is that air is already in the hazardous category. Reality is that most of the air quality monitors of our country, run by the government, is showing 200, 300, or 215. In fact, some actually show, almost satisfactory air as well of Delhi NCR versus the private data that actually talks about 999,000 or perhaps more. So one of the best things that the government has done, and the only thing that the government has actually done, is mismanage data, hide data. If we've looked at so many stories, I think that story number one that should be there for the government, for the media, and also for the courts to understand that the citizens of this country are not even shared with the information how polluted the air is. We all know that this was a submission that was made in the Supreme Court that most of the air quality monitors were actually shut down during the peak pollution levels and also after. And there's water sprinkling that is going on with regard to air quality, with regard to these monitors. The data, the machines are very, very outdated.
Okay.
Machines don't work properly anyway. Machines are placed in areas which are strategically supposed to capture lesser pollution. Then machines are turned off, and then machines that are switched on are sprinkled with water. So I think one of the biggest criminal acts of governance that we could actually call is of not informing citizens in terms of public health, in terms of public advisory, how polluted the air is.
Right
now,
so
the government already is aware
essentially what you're saying is we don't even know the extent of the damage. We don't even know the extent of pollution.
Absolutely. And therefore, to just think that we are in severe category is disservice and almost like turning blind eye to reality. Reality is that we are hazardous plus. And therefore, are we doing appropriate action with regard to that number? Right now, we don't even have graph 3, graph 4 going. We should actually have a lockdown in the city.
Absolutely.